Happy Oscars weekend. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister here with our senior film writer, Matt Donnelly. And as you can see, we are actually on the red carpet. It's covered in plastic because it has to stay clean for the actual show. But Matt, let's get right into it. There's so much to talk about with this year's Academy Awards. First up, there is no host. What do you make of that? How is the show going to be?
It's been a really long and painful season this year, and I feel like this has been just in our general Hollywood climate. We've been leading up to this moment where everyone is under such intense scrutiny in Hollywood, and the show itself needs to change. I think that's very apparent. Look at what happened last August, the Academy's new bylaws to make the show shorter, to make it punchier, and we are sort of feeling, we're climbing the ladder and hitting every rung with our heads as we go up. But yeah, it's been really rough. The Kevin Hart debacle sort of marked the start of what would be a long and rough political season for the Academy, and now we're here. No one has any idea what's going to happen, and I think that while it's gotten a lot of attention, it still sort of feels awkward, and we're, as viewers, as Hollywood Report, we're all just sort of in new terrain, which is so strange, but exciting in a way.
Now, you said that nobody knows what's going to happen, but do you have any sense of how the show is going to actually carry out, because there's no host to really be the through line there?
Yeah, so what the Academy essentially assembled is a bunch of teams of very big stars that will transition the show from segment to segment and award to award. I do believe, our sources tell us, that Queen will open the show with a musical number. Music will be a big factor in the show as well, but there's not really any order. There'll be no through line of one sort of trustable figure that'll give us jokes, that'll help us transition, but it's so unpredictable. Who knows what's going to happen? It's really crazy.
Now, one name that has been making some headlines for a strange conspiracy theory is Whoopi Goldberg, who Whoopi is a presenter. You mentioned a lot of starry names on that presenter list, also a lot of starry names with the musical guests. You mentioned Queen, also Bette Midler is going to be here performing. But back to Whoopi, some people think because she has not been on The View all week long, she might come up as a surprise host. Is there any possibility that happens?
You know, what's most surprising to me about that conspiracy theory is that people are, this is such an ingrained cultural tradition, the Oscars, that people are still so desperate for a leader on this night, so desperate that this rumor is just bubbling up. I don't know if she'll be the host. It would kind of be gangster, frankly, if they just announced her as a last-minute host, because they've been so criticized. Again, the Academy has been under such attack for months now. It would be so cool if they just surprised all of us and said, you know what, we do have a host. But I just feel like we are such creatures of habit, and people are so expecting one marquee name to help us get through this long night. But it would be amazing, but I don't know if it's true.
Now, the Academy has really been riddled with a ton of backlash, and I think a lot of people in our industry would say rightfully so. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with this 90-second rule? Is there any chance in the world that works?
You know, I think that they consistently every year always try to coach nominees and eventual winners to keep it as tight as possible, and it's a very convenient theory to put it on the talent, but the point is the Academy wants good television. When you have a Cuba Gooding Jr. who tells the orchestra to shut up and screams and jumps up and down for 3 minutes, that's an incredibly compelling TV. And even someone like Jared Leto a couple of years ago, he spoke for minutes on end. Matthew McConaughey, minutes on end. But you want people to have that moment. You want your Julia Roberts, I love it up here. You really want that. So I don't know, I think The Lady Doth Protest is too much on that situation, but I think this year they will probably put more onus on keeping the show as trim as possible, because that's one of the goals they set forth. They want, and also, by the way, you have to love the Academy. We want a tight 3-hour show. Give me a huge break.
Who's ever said a tight 3-hour anything in their life?
It's insane. But I do, yes, they'll probably be a little bit more strict on just keeping everything moving. You know,
a lot of music playing this year.
They want compelling television. So if someone has a great moment and wants to take off their jacket and sit down and pet the Oscar and give a 40-minute speech about Me Too, they'll let them do it. And again, it's ad-supported television. If they go over, they're still getting paid. It's not that big of a deal.
Now, something that we obviously have seen through the past 2 years of award season is acceptance speeches getting very political. Now, this year there is no host, so that can take away some of the politics. Sure. But, Matt, do you expect the stars to get political up there? You
know, I think a lot of the nominees this year, it's a very diverse Oscars, which is amazing. You look at somebody like Hannah Beachler, who's the first ever African-American woman nominated for production design, which is a below-the-line job that really has no representation of people of color or really anyone that's not white men. So I think there'll be a couple of moments that are sort of marquee, incredibly important representative moments. But I don't know, without a host to like give us like a bunch of Trump jokes and sort of set a tone, I'm not sure that it really will get to that political place. But the Oscars, again, look at all the new members they've let in. They diversified and opened up their membership. I think that they'll probably highlight it, but I'm not sure without, again, that like really punchy, comedic, sort of acidic presence of a host. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens.
I think the biggest shock of the night would be if there is no mention of Trump. I think that is a for sure given.
I think we're also waiting to see if he's going to watch. This is a president that's from Hollywood, so I'm sure he'll probably have a couple zingers for people who win, or if it does get political, he'll respond from the White House toilet or something. I don't know.
Or he'll tweet about the ratings. Now we've got to talk about predictions, Matt. This is probably the most unknown race when it comes to the top award of the night. Of course, a lot of people are bringing it down to Roma and Green Book. What do you think?
I mean, it's the race is completely wide open. I think that there's been a last-minute groundswell of support for Spike Lee and BlacKkKlansman, which is a beautiful film. I think the Green Book has been consistently an unexpected, dark horse in this entire race. I think it's anyone's game. Also, I don't know how the favorite will pan out, but I think that's a serious Academy favorite, like internally. So who knows? It's just so incredibly unpredictable. Mathematics will say that Roma will win. And also that would be an incredible moment for not just a foreign language film. It's black and white. It's really defeated a lot of odds, but I think it's anyone's guess, and it's really one of the most exciting parts of the night.
Now, we can't talk Oscars without Gaga. Is Gaga going to be beat by Glenn Close?
Sadly, I do think this is Glenn Close's year. But, the most amazing thing for Lady Gaga is that I think for people at home who are watching the show, the moment of Sunday night will be Shallow. When you see her and Bradley do it, like such an emotionally resonant piece of filmmaking. And even if she doesn't win Best Actress, I think that she walks away a massive winner. Her career will forever be changed. But I do think it's Glenn's year, sadly. Well, or not sadly, depending on how you feel.
Thank you so much, Matt, for all of your insight. Of course, we cannot wait for Sunday. We will both be here. And of course, for all your Oscars coverage, make sure to go to Variety.com or follow us on Twitter.